Oh, hello there, yes. Well, various people say to me, why don't you do what the hip kids do and go walking around outside? To which I'd have to say, what do I do when it rains then? That's a problem, isn't it, eh? Well, yeah, I mean, people will say, well, you could just sit in your car, but, well, I don't have a car, so they just say, why are you in my car? And then if it rains, I'm just going to look like, well, I'm going to look like my partner's left me and I'm suicidal, aren't I? Maybe not.
Yeah, so we'll stick with this, I think. Yeah. I've just never understood why I should do what other people do, because then if I'm walking around outside, number one, I'm probably just going to fall over things, and secondly, I'm likely to bump into some other influencer like Paul Golding, and it could all just get very, very messy. Anyway, we'll come back to him. Yeah, yesterday there was a piece in The Guardian. I know I almost never talk about The Guardian, but that's because it's gone from a paper that I used to buy and now just largely ignore. Such is the nature of social media and probably the changingness of Guardianness and meanness as well, possibly one of the two. Anyway, I had this from Gordon Brown. Europeans enthralled to the far right. That's the result of appeasement by so-called moderates. And please do read it. It's a link down below. As ever, he's got it right. One of the problems that we have, particularly in this country, in and around the far right, is there's been an awful lot of appeasement going on. I'm expecting our own current government to do a lot more of their, oh yes, we're definitely going to get a grip of the small boats thing. There won't be any radical solution. They will just simply do a kind of half-hearted thing that a number of people will want them to do, so making the right kind of noises and probably deporting a few more people. But of course the problem with appeasement, as we found out in the 1930s, is it just encourages people to take more. And we can see the kind of direction of travel here. I mean, Gordon Brown's piece goes very much into what's going on in Europe, but we can see it here. The current Conservative Party has very, very much gone into that kind of populist mode. We get this with Robert Jenrick, for example, who has decided to suggest that a Donald Trump win would be a very good thing for all of us, which is, I think, rather alarming. And of course, for every Robert Jenrick, you also have a Kemi Badenoch, and for every Kemi Badenoch, you also have a Suella Braverman in terms of populist right-wingers that seek to go after that vote. Doesn't really matter what you say on that basis, because the idea is that magically, a bit like they didn't with UKIP, you can just absorb this, but we're not in those kind of politics anymore, as we've seen with the rise of reform. So forever Suella Braverman, you instantaneously slip into Nigel Farage with his own particular TV station, yes, and all the people are there who basically will, some of them in the past, of course, are now proactively promoting Tommy Robinson. So for every Farage, you end up with a Tommy Robinson. And of course, for every Tommy Robinson, you end up with a Carl Benjamin. And from every Carl Benjamin, you end up with a Mr. Golding of Britain First. There's very little to separate them. And it's very, very easy for these individuals to basically slide between all of those different policy positions, some of which may or may not be sensible. I don't think they are particularly sensible, but you can argue the toss about that. And a lot of them actually involve an awful lot of pain and suffering on a very, very real and physical level. And you can see this kind of thing going on all over the place, whereby the right feels very, very emboldened and radicalised, which is exactly why I don't want Donald Trump to win. I was rather disheartened about the fact that having an actual majority of the left winning in the French elections, their appeasing centrist Starmer-style Macron leader decided to simply ignore that and go and make overtures to the far right. Oops. Because when you scratch a centrist, that's effectively what you do get. And I'm not sure, for example, on that other great non-champion of non-free speech and non-democracy like Elon Musk, that we really will have somehow, by exposing the far right to social media, end up with them being, disheartened. Donald Trump and J.D. Vance were talking about Haitians eating pets, which has led to a lot of bomb threats at Springfield schools, and the Proud Boys, those lovely Nazis walking through the town. That's what you get. That's what you get with this, all right, okay? These people must be tackled and confronted. You can't simply seek to make them go away, because you can't appease a fascist or a racist or a Nazi, right, okay? All right? They don't want half measures. Carl Benjamin wants, as he calls it, remigration. What a lovely word. It's along there with going east. Yes, yes. And Elon Musk, of course, is really there for the common man until you see his actual record in and around trade unions or anything else. These people are not your friends, and I don't want to be persuaded that they can somehow be made my friends by a few policy changes, especially not by the Labour Party. Anyway, do have a lovely, what is it now, Wednesday? Oh, still got sunshine. It's not bad. It's not bad, yes, as long as it doesn't rain. Otherwise I'd have to sit in my car like a member of Turning Point. How sad.